goodness gracious. I'm I'm having too much fun. It's exactly right, Zyler. Drama filled. We didn't even get a reprieve on Sunday. It was even more craziness.
No, the first half of the 1 o'clock window was boring, and I thought, oh wow, college football has won the weekend. And then
all hell broke
the
loose.
next 4 hours were amazing.
It is amazing to think of where we're at. All right, let's start with the obvious. It didn't take long, did it? I mean, normally you can get past the 12th of September without somebody getting fired in the world of college football. And you want to talk about desperation to fire somebody. Now, teams, universities, programs, athletic directors, depending, do indeed take care of their own, do they not? Because when Trev Alberts decides to pull the plug on Scott Frost, who frankly had to be fired. I mean, you have to be fired after that game. I'm not sure I would have let him shake hands. Maybe I not have got to Clay Helton's hand. I would have had him charged with trespassing if he hadn't gotten off the field before those last seconds ticked away. I get it. But when you have a clause in the contract, folks, to where if they fire you, the buyout on October the 1st is $7.5 million, as opposed to Saturday night, Sunday morning, whenever the specific moment was, $15 million. That is a hell of a you're welcome, Trev Alberts to Scott Frost. Scott Frost should name any more children after Trev Alberts. If he has a kid, name him Trev. Has another kid, name him Albert.
No, Alberts.
Yeah, I mean.
Why is your name Alberts?
Oh, well, you like your house you live in?
Yeah.
That's
generational wealth.
Jesus, Trev. Talk about doing a favor. You're one of us. So I'm going to give you this money. And now I got to turn my back on you. Sorry ass. Losing at home to Georgia. Good Lord. So that's fun in and of itself. They fire. What a lonely week. What a tough time in Lincoln as all of a sudden, normally you'd be excited for Oklahoma coming to town. Nay. You have two top 10 programs losing to group of 5 teams, okay? You have Alabama nearly losing to Texas, who, frankly, if Quinn Ewers doesn't get hurt, I think beats Alabama. He was killing them. That's a look in the mirror moment for Nick, too, because they weren't well coached on Saturday. They had a ton of issues. A whole lot of obstinates, a whole lot of clock management issues, what are we doing out here, Nick? Is Father Time catching up? Looking a little bewildered.
Yeah, that 11 a.m. Texas sun didn't do him any favors.
Beleaguered. Appalachian State knocks off number 6 Texas A&M. Now, can we go through these numbers? That is a classic Jimbo right there. Whole lot of, are you kidding me? We ran 38 plays. 38. Can you imagine being a Texas A&M fan? 38 plays? Sweet Jesus. Look around, man. Get with the program, Slick.
That's 2 drives for Army or Navy.
17-14, they fall. Appalachian State ran 80 plays to Texas A&M's 38. You don't say. 186 total yards for Texas A&M. They scored 7 offensive points against Appalachian State, who just gave up 700 to North Carolina last weekend, who also isn't any good at all. You saw North Carolina nearly lose.
I watched that game. It was a push for this guy.
The Aggies ran 2 plays in Appalachian State's territory until their final drive. 2. You know who I heard in my head? Jimbo.
I see you, Jimbo.
It's been a while.
3rd down, Jimbo. Better keep the ball.
This stat blew me
away.
I bet
you won't, though.
I know. It's nuts. In the past 4 recruiting cycles, Appalachian State has signed 0 4- or 5-star recruits. 0 in the last 4. None of their recruiting classes ranked higher than 73rd, according to the composite rankings. Texas A&M signed more 5-star recruits in its 2022 class, 8, than App State has signed top 1,000 players in the past 4 classes. Sir. Every Texas A&M signing class the past 4 years has ranked 8th or higher. 50 games into Jimbo Fisher's tenure at Texas A&M, 35-15. He is not better than his predecessor, Kevin Sumlin, 36-14. And that's at $9 million per year, starting on January the 1st, 2022. He gets an annual raise every season. It's built into the contract.
I'll bet you thought I was back in Tallahassee, Jimbo. I made the drive.
He followed him there.
I live here now.
Marshall goes to number 8 Notre Dame, wins 26-21. The Thundering Herd controlled that game. If you watched it, they led 9-7 at halftime. They took the lead for good with just under 6 minutes to play. Marcus Freeman, who universally was declared to be a good hire for Notre Dame, I even said as much. I'm going to be wrong if history's right, because Marcus Freeman is the first coach in Notre Dame history to ever go 0-3 to start his career. That's a toughie. Fans tend to hang on to things like that. They remember the numbers. They don't, it'll be all right. No, it doesn't look like it's going to be all right.
We need to join a conference.
We got chaos, kids. We got chaos. It's nuts. By the way, my man Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, 316 total offensive yards this season.
They played how many games now?
Well, they won with 2 safeties and a field goal in week 1, and then they won this. They lost this game.
They didn't play week 0, so thankfully they're averaging over 150 yards a game.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, that'll hurt your feelings. I was looking at some numbers that blew me away. Kentucky, again, Mark Stoops, good on you, man. Knocks off Florida. That in and of itself is not stunning. It's not a stunning result. He's 3-2 in his last 5 games against Florida. 2-1 in the past 3 trips to the Swamp.
I believe he blew the other 2.
Well, there was one that was...
There's one nobody was covering.
Nobody was covering somebody. That's right.
Yeah.
But at one point on Saturday, and you guys know what I'm talking about, where we had the confluence of events, where if you were seated at a establishment that had lots of televisions on, you were watching the end of the App State Texas A&M game, going, holy hell, they're going to do this. Jimbo's going to lose to Appalachian State. You're watching that. Then you're watching the end of Tennessee and Pitt going to overtime. Crazy game.
Pitt is 2 for 2 in wild football games.
Yes, they are. So you're watching that game end. You're watching the start of the Kentucky-Florida game, and the way that gets started, you're like, oh, okay, we've got something. We got a little something brewing over here. This is going to be fun. Yeah, everywhere you looked, I was like, I don't know what do I watch? This is unreal. What's happening over there? That was incredible.
I mapped out my day with the idea that from 12 to 4, there's really not much of anything to worry about college football-wise. And I love the sport, and I miss the sport, so I want to have it on in the background. But it would be on in the background. It would be the white noise. We'll see if by 2 o'clock something emerges that is important. Got to tune in because there's a crazy finish. That Alabama-Texas game started, you couldn't get off the couch. There's no chance.
Yeah.
That game was too intense, too quickly, and you thought, oh, my God. Outside of Alabama's first drive, where they moved it all the way down the field, and it looked like maybe Texas would have trouble stopping them consistently. Once you settle into about 2 drives apiece, you realize Texas might be the better team today. They might be the better team on the field today before Ewers gets hurt. But it was just close down to the wire, and then college football never took a break. It didn't take all the way till 1 a.m.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And you're just left kind of one thing, let's circle back for a second. Okay, so the first coach to get fired this year is Scott Frost. And I don't suppose that there were better odds on any other coach to get fired sooner than him. He entered into the season with an immense amount of pressure. Obviously, in the offseason, fired 4 coaches on his staff. They lowered his salary. Anytime your boss comes to you and tells you to take a huge pay cut and fire your friends, that's a toughie. That's good. We are reeling at this point, right? And so we all know what's next when that happens. When you gotta axe your boys that you personally brought in, they told you who you're gonna bring in next. They tell you who you're bringing in next. He brings Whipple in. They go lose in Ireland to Northwestern. Now, as Northwestern's losing at home to Duke, and at one point in that game, getting pasted, you can't tell me Trev Alberts isn't sitting in his office going,
And the people in the tailgate lot saying, I don't feel good about today.
I'm like, what are we doing
This
here?
is a problem.
I'll tell you something right now. A buddy of mine that graduated from Nebraska, from a family of Nebraska graduates, texted me earlier in the day before the game, said, I think we lose tonight. He picked it. He bet the other way.
He played it.
At plus 900 on the money line.
My goodness. It's the best thing Scott Frost has ever done for him.
I mean, that is unreal. You sense it. Things get out of control. What you realize, now you think about this, that guy that just got fired, in addition to being one of their own, a legendary player, the whole deal, right? Takes over a winless program at UCF and turns it around and goes undefeated. They make a bowl his first year, go undefeated. Oh, the whole thing. Just like that, this guy's career trajectory goes from, hey, yeah, we'll see how he does, to you got to hire him. Nebraska, his dream job. I mean, of course he's elated. You wouldn't leave UCF unless it was that job, right? Because things were really rolling there.
Right. Yeah.
And he's a god. He's a god.
Yeah, and he's a year or two away from getting large jobs in Power 5.
Yeah.
I mean, the big ones.
So there he is, UCF, doing great, no problem, the whole deal. And then all of a sudden, you get this opportunity of a lifetime. Probably would make you cry. Have your alma mater call you and say, we want you. We want you. And he goes there. Now, who's better equipped to sell Notre Dame than a guy who played there, starred there, won there, loves it there, right? That guy, you're going to feel the authenticity sitting across from a guy like that, as opposed to a hired gun who comes in from somewhere else, who's from like Chicago or something, right? Now, this is a guy who loves. So, and it doesn't happen. If you don't get off to a good start, if you don't find some success early and things begin to avalanche, I don't care how good a coach you are or potentially could be, it's awfully hard to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and get it done. It's just the failures begin to mount, and there's a weight. There's a weight in addition to not having the players, in addition to falling short in big games and close moments and all that. There's a weight that comes with the perpetual losses, some of which you didn't even do. You inherited the mess from down the line. That's why you're there. So the weight, you feel it when you step in to a program that's been losing, especially one with great tradition. When a school has incredible tradition and they've won national championships, plural, and their fans are loyal and dedicated, you walk in feeling the anticipation. All right, you're going to save us. We got to get out from under this, and you're one of us. And then it doesn't happen, and you begin to feel the weight. It's tough, man. You could see Nebraska going off the rails, and he could never get it back. And I don't know how a guy goes from taking a winless program and turning it into an undefeated program to getting a dream job and being out of said job with zero success at that place. It is crazy.
Well, Adrian Martinez for starters.
Yeah,
and
secondly,
secondly,
with that guy for a long time.
It's hard to get players there. And that's what you're talking about with the success. You need a little bit of success plus your resume to equal enough for a kid to go to Nebraska. It's just hard. It's hard to get the athletes. That was the one, resource that he did have in the state of Florida was, look, even the cast-offs
good players
from the big schools in my state are good enough players, especially in the conference that we play in.
Yeah. Well, and Scott Frost was still relatively very, very young in his coaching career. So by the time he gets to Nebraska, he hasn't done a ton of coaching. He's had a lot of success, but he's done very little in the way of head coaching. Now he takes over a program in the Big Ten, and that's a different animal than where you're at UCF. Now, we can go all the way back. I've talked about this a lot before. When we look at the big picture of college football, and I always like to look at the fabric of college football and talk about the greater storylines, the backstories, and all of that. Nebraska hasn't felt right since they left the Big 12. I missed the triple option, all of it. None of it's made any sense, right? And you could watch them and you could say, well, it was unique to them. They did something that no big programs did. Desperate, smaller programs always had to incorporate sort of that offense. But it seemed so fitting to be where they were in Nebraska with the weather and everything else. Those kinds of offenses are bountiful throughout the state and the surrounding areas, where you'd recruit from those high schools, those offensive linemen that were used to running that scheme, and you'd bring them to Nebraska, right? These corn-fed hosses that would come in there that knew how to block this up, right? And then you would play into it. You'd get a few elite athletes, Tommy Frazier and all those guys, right? And you would bring them in to incorporate, and you had an identity. That was your thing, and you ran it to the hilt, and everybody got it. They haven't had it since. And I wonder how much regret. I mean, look, that contract the Big Ten has is, Nebraska's getting paid. This is, to some degree, a desirable job. There are a lot of guys we could go through that, I'm
Paul Johnson. There you go.
Well, I'm calling Fickle first and foremost, but he may not leave Cincinnati. And that's the hard part. Imagine how much it hurts to turn around and have to say, well, I'm not so sure the Cincinnati job isn't a better job. Fickle might be like, well, what are you offering me? I got a much better job here at Cincinnati.
Well, that's what Frost could have said if it wasn't for the heartstrings before he took the Nebraska gig.
Yeah.
Look, if I'm going to parlay my success right now, I'm going to parlay it into something bigger than Nebraska.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And then the NFL happens. We haven't touched on that yet. And then we'll get to Florida State, which practice begins again today. You were at said practice. We'll talk about that a little bit. What an opportunity now. This all adds up as we look big picture. College football is wild. We're in store for a crazy year. The things we thought we knew for sure, maybe we don't know for sure. Some of the things that we suspected seem to be right. Some of the things that we thought to be true are not right. So there's all this, I don't know. When I survey the top 25, and you and I talked about this a little bit, and I was thinking it late Saturday night. How many sure things you looking at out there?
Buddy. No, the energy.
How many sure things are you looking at in that top 25?
My energy this week is don't mess around and win this game convincingly now. Don't do that. Because then there are expectations in the air.
Well, I feel like there already are. I had a suspicion Louisville would go win the game against UCF. I'm not a Gus Malzahn guy. I try to tell everybody he sucks. He does. Anyhow, they'll be up for this game. They'll be sky high for us, but we're better. We're just better. Go win this game. Go take care of your business. And like you said, to some degree, go win this game convincingly. Go ahead on and win this game convincingly, because then you got BC's sorry ass rolling into town, and you're staring 4-0 in the face, and then a ranked Wake Forest team coming into town, and buddy, we're already knocking on the top 25. You saw the others receiving votes and all that. It's right there. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Wooden Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Wooden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Wooden Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Wooden Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at woodenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
For many in the workforce, their goal is to climb the company ladder. Often the climb requires a move to another city, and that's especially true in our industry. I'm Jay of Paul's Termite and Pest Control. If you rise the ranks of our competitors, there's a good chance moving up means moving away. Why? Because they're not local companies. They're from places like Orlando, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, and even Europe. That's certainly not the case with our employees. We're a company that was founded in the Big Bend and remains locally owned. When Paul's Termite and Pest Control employees advance, they remain in the Tallahassee area. Don't trust the safety of your family and pets from disease-carrying pests, or the structure of your biggest investment from termites to people who may be here today and gone tomorrow. Trust Paul's Termite and Pest Control, a company that has serviced thousands of our neighbors right here for over 50 years. Being local really does matter in our industry, because local problems require local solutions. Paul's Termite and Pest Control are the Big Bend's local experts for the elimination of termites or any other pest, and a greener lawn too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless with zero gravity. All of your worries and stress melt away. Your mind stops racing and you fall into a profound state of pure relaxation. This is available to you right now at Tallulah Delta 8 Plus Floating in Railroad Square for just $50. These state-of-the-art floating pods are unlike anything else you've ever experienced, and while you're there, you can shop for some of the latest and greatest CBD and Delta 8 products on the market. Natural pain management, stress relief, and better sleep are all at your fingertips at Tallulah. Tell them Jeff Cameron sent you, and thank me later.
Crawfordville Auto and Tires remix, y'all. Crawfordville Auto Repair and Tires.
Automotive service, there is no one finer.
Tires and struts and wrecks and pinions. ASE certified technician. 12-month, 12K guarantee. Same-day service, usually. Engine rebuilds done complete. Brakes and shocks, that's no small feat. Keep your AC blowing cool. CV joints, emissions too. Open weekdays till 6 at night. Give them a chance, they'll treat you right. Crawfordville Auto Repair and Tires, 2170 Crawfordville Highway, Crawfordville, Florida.
This is Dr. James Ryan Finn at Finn Chiropractic. Wanted to let you guys know chiropractic doesn't just get rid of back pain, neck pain, and headaches. It could help with sleep. It could help with digestion. Maybe you have pain down your arm. But chiropractic is one of the safest, most natural, most effective ways to get to the root cause of your problem. So if you're a loved one or having a problem, even if you think we might not be able to help, make a new patient appointment today at finnchiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com. Because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Jerry's Famous Cigar Shop is a special place. It's Tallahassee's only traditional gentleman's cigar lounge with a massive collection of hard-to-find boutique cigar brands, a staff with over 100 years of combined cigar knowledge and experience, the best prices in town with full box discounts, a great selection of beer and wine, indoor and outdoor seating, private lockers, and best of all, Jerry's is a local family-owned business. Visit us on Sherrill Road or the new lounge on Kerry Forest Parkway, the only cigar lounge for the true gentleman.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
I would say it's not an overreaction, or at least I don't think it's an overreaction at this point to suggest that Dallas' season is over. Grand opening, grand closing.
I believe it is.
Thanks for playing, everybody. Dallas' season is over. It should be noted they were awful before Dak broke his thumb. They were going nowhere with that group of receivers, dominated in every facet of the game by the Bucs. And I was beginning to think as I was turning off my TV up 19-3, I said, I don't need to see the end. I know how this ends. Maybe I wake up and it's 19-10, but it doesn't matter. The game's been over for a long time. I didn't see the injury until this morning. I needed some shut-eye, Tom. I had to do it. So at 19-3, I was like, okay, I'm going to bed. And I thought when I turned off my television or as I began to fall asleep, I thought, boy, Dallas is going to have a hard time winning 5 games with this group. Like before he got hurt.
Yeah, so the irony of the injury is both times that he got hit in the hand, Barrett got held like crazy. There was no flag on it.
I know.
But if 73, the young Smith, had actually let Barrett go, maybe Dak just goes to the ground and doesn't have a broken thumb. It looked like after about the second drive, a preseason game. When Dallas had the football. It felt
weird.
Like a preseason game.
It was weird. Like
there were 90,000 people in the stadium last night. You would not have known that.
No, ill-prepared. There was no rhythm to the passing game to speak of.
I've got some breaking news for you, too. Mike McCarthy's dumb as a post. They could run the ball straight at us.
Yes.
And they were surging our defensive line, which to me is alarming for future matchups, including this weekend against the Saints, because the Saints won't be that stupid.
Right.
They'll run it right at you. Now, I don't know if that's because Dallas, from a run blocking standpoint, is actually good. But if you watch the trenches, I mean, it was a 2 and a 3 yard push consistently. And even at 19-3, the play was run the ball and see how far we can get.
See if you can score and go for 2 and get back.
But he kept throwing because he's Mike McCarthy.
Well, there you go. I think the only other team that I looked at this weekend who, and again, I'm trying to be very careful. I mean, we see weird results all the time. Last year, the Packers got blown out by the Saints over in Jacksonville. Remember that? And we were like, good God, man. And then they went on to have a great season. In a weird way, the Packers looked like the same Packers from a year ago this past week, and we kind of suspected they would look terrible. Took Minnesota, talked about it. That was easy, right? All that. All right. I'm not going to overreact to that. Those young receivers will come along.
Lazard will come back too.
Come back. They're going to get healthier. We'll see, right? But I think you've got to probably be on the cusp. And I know we're reluctant to do so because of his history. The Patriots suck.
Oh, yeah.
The Patriots kind of straight up suck. There's nothing about that team that's redeeming. Watching them play, you're like, you know, I was a little worried about you coming into the season. This seemed a little shaky, but, you know, I'll trust Bill. They got nothing going on. I'd be mashing the red button. We got problems in New England. Hit that button, baby. We got problems in New England. I should know better, but I'm not buying it. I don't like them.
Yeah, so their next 3 games are at Pittsburgh. Interesting now. No, it's 2 bad teams playing football.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
That's right.
And then it's the Ravens and the Packers. So they're 1-3 at best. 1-3 to start the season.
I would also note of the other things that I thought was interesting. Anyhow, you know, like before the season began, we talked a lot about what did we think we knew. Well, we love the Bills. Well, we still do. We weren't certain about a couple of other teams, but we wanted to see, are the Chargers that much better on defense? Because if they're better on defense, they're a real problem in the AFC. They could be the second best team vying with Kansas City. The AFC in general is kind of fun in this way. But if the Chargers can get a stop every now and again, they're going to be, well, they got a pass rush. Low key, the Mac pickup, if he's going to be right like he was in this, then they've got nasty bookends.
Yeah, and then Herbert had another 6 throws yesterday where you go,
just dumb.
For crying out
he makes
loud,
throws
sir.
No, he's sick. He's sick. So that we know that. Okay, I do agree. How could you not? We've seen it already. Mahomes is an elite player. Got it. Kansas City's going to score on a lot of people. Look at you, Arizona. I'm not. Look at that team out there not wanting to play football in the home opener. Yep. They don't like their coach. There's something going on there.
Something is wrong.
A whole lot of. This is our concern, dude.
And they still paid Kyler Murray, even though
which I would not have done anyhow. But we've talked about that too.
That was dumb.
There's more. This just
Minnesota looked good too defensively.
They did.
Defense. I understand that the Packers receivers don't exist. They're like the limit. It does not exist.
Yeah.
But they look stout up front. The O-line was a bit of a concern though. They've done better work with it, but I think that's what Green Bay is going to be able to hang their hat on. Is Green Bay's front 7 is good.
Yeah. I would have thrown the ball to Dalvin a little bit more, but I'm selfish because I've got him on my fantasy team. Look.
The funny thing was, what did he have? Just under 100 all-purpose yards? It was very quiet.
Yeah, very quiet.
Yeah.
Didn't get in the end zone. And
Madison ran hard yesterday for them, too.
Unfortunately. Don't need his ass out there any more than necessary. Let's go.
I mean, come on. They're even throwing to C.J. Ham.
I was getting angry about it. I was getting angry about it. No, plenty. I'll circle back, but I want to get to FSU and how excited I am about this opportunity. It has been a minute. It has been a minute since Florida State was about to play in a game where there were very real expectations based on a previous game's result and not just hope. There was something that you thought you could hang your hat on. And it has also been a minute where there's something really to lose here. I could argue that if we didn't know how the game was going to play out last week against LSU, meaning Florida State was going to dominate throughout much of the game and then nearly give it away. All right, if you just clean slate, we don't know how the game's going to go. Let's say LSU comes in and wins that game 27-20, and it's a hard-fought game, and it's equal, and you could survive it as long as you went on and beat Louisville, right? I mean, we're kind of looking at those two games as pivotal. Now, had they lost it, given the way it played out, that I do think we would have seen more devastating repercussions, potentially, emotionally, all of it. So now that we've watched a lot of college football through 2 weeks here, 3 weeks, I guess now in total, well, I think what we're seeing is there's a spot for Florida State in the top 20. There's a spot for Florida State in the top 20. And we've looked around at the ACC, and we're not exactly impressed. Seldom are, but we're really not impressed right now. Clemson's defensive line impresses me. I still think they're struggling on offense. Miami, okay. Not a juggernaut, but pretty good. All right, got it. We figured on those two things. Everybody else?
Oh, man.
I mean, could we be the third best team in the ACC?
Whether it was a group text or sitting with your friends at the bar on Saturday, whatever it was, there was a moment where everybody who watches college football together and cares about Florida State, you got that little group of yours or a big group.
Everybody does, right?
Might be around 4:30, 5 o'clock on Saturday where you look over your shoulder to one friend, you look over the other shoulder to the other friend, and you go,
I'm serious. You do.
I mean, who's out there?
Why not us is what you're
Right.
saying. You're like,
You're a dude on a Sunday
I don't see much.
at a major. You're 6 shots back of the leaders, 2 leaders vying for it. You're 4 groups from last. You're making the turn, and they both are 3 over, and you're saying, if I step on the gas here on the back nine a little bit and I post a number,
yeah, who knows?
These guys are choking it away.
Right. I'd go win a game that you look equipped to win. Like, go handle these expectations, moderate as they are, button up, go up there, play smart football, maximize what you have, which I think is enough, and go win that football game. Now you get a road win in the conference, in the division, and you're 3-0. Everybody's falling all around you. You at that point, you start to, I think, conjure up images of maybe a crazy season. Maybe you overstate what's possible, but you also begin to really, I think, brim with an awful lot of confidence. But now you're getting the proof of concept we've all wanted. Now the buy-in is paying off, and others are asking themselves real hard questions, because if Louisville loses, they're 1-2. If it's right. So you win that game against them, they're 1-2.
Yep.
Clemson, I think, still kind of looking around. They're the team to beat. There's no doubt, because of that defense. I get it. That's a tall task, but it's here. So, maybe, right? The rest of it, Boston College, sorry. NC State will be tough on the road. They looked a lot better, as I figured they would be. But there's not a whole lot of, there's no chance. There's not a whole lot of that featured in this conference. There's not.
Short of an injury between now and those games like NC State and Clemson, I don't think there is no chance.
Well, you're not playing a roadie against Alabama.
Right.
You're not going
and
to
even then.
Well, I'm just saying, you're not on the road at Columbus. You're not going, come on now. You don't have to be great to maybe win 9-10 games this year. And this is what we were talking about before the season. I don't care if it's real, if it's fake, if it's the byproduct of any number of 5 or 6 scenarios that you could identify. The number's the number. You get there. You create real momentum regardless. Recruits don't know.
Yeah, I'd like to have that conversation this time next week after beating Louisville, in which we say, all right,
what are we?
Now there are real expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Can you handle it at 8 p.m., because that's the kickoff time for Boston College?
Correct.
8 p.m. ACC Network, our favorite channel. Can you handle that in the first half and not look nervous? Because now you have material to lose.
Yeah, there's nothing to be nervous about, guys. You're better across the board than Boston College. Sorry ass. And we'll worry about it. Go beat Louisville. You're right. We'll worry about it later.
Right.
But
that's the next conversation, if you can handle this week, which after Friday's game, I felt better. I felt even better about our chances this Friday after watching UCF
My
Louisville.
picking Louisville, by the way, had less to do with what kind of prowess I thought they had or possessed or whatever, and more to do with what I didn't think UCF was, because I'm on record of not believing in Gus at all, ever. So that fact, it was ugly. The game was ugly. The two teams weren't very good. Louisville looks to be better. I don't think UCF's going to be a very good team this year. But I thought they would bounce back. That'll engender a little bit of confidence for them. They'll be sky high on Friday night. If you come out and play poorly early, now you've got a problem on your hands.
The reason I love that game specifically, and UCF will run tempo faster than we will. That's Gus's hallmark. But a lot of the principles, the base principles of that
Right.
offense are the same as ours. They're the same. I mean, Mike has a tie with Auburn and the Malzahn tree. And when you have that stuff on film, that specific style of offense that we run, again, tempo's different, and you see Louisville failing in many regards with some of our base stuff, and we're going to run it faster after the ball snapped, not between plays, but we'll have faster and better players after the ball snapped.
Yeah, I agree.
I love our chances to put up at least 30, mid-30s in this game.
Oh, buddy.
And at that point, I mean, you just need to not fall flat on your face.
But isn't that where we sit today? I mean, let's be honest. It's an important week. Here, it's Monday. The game's Friday. It's a short week. We're already like trying to get focused while looking back. All of that's there. At least as a show, we are. I mean, Florida State's locked in. But there's a lot to be gained here. There's a lot to be won here. You've got a real opportunity at foot because I do think Florida State's going to score in the 30s. I agree with you. I thought that was sitting there watching Louisville the other night. I was like, okay, well, they're not going to stop this on the regular. Now, they may be able to score a lot, and that's where we're at.
Right.
It's this to Adam Fuller. It's a big week for him, man. And I think we're going to say that a lot this year. I really do because I think Mike and this offense, so long as Jordan's healthy, are going to be able to put up enough points to win. If you walk out of any game and you scored 28 to 35 points, most of the time you should win. Now, there are a couple of maybe juggernaut offenses down the road or something like that you might face where you'd say, you're going to need more than that. You might need more than that against Miami. I don't know, but we'll see. And we'll let the season play out to dictate those terms. But most nights, I think Florida State's going to be in a position, so long as they execute in the red zone. I do worry about us kicking the football. I will tell you that. It will leave points on the field too often. I'm a little nervous about that. But this is a team that should score 31 to 34 points a game in the ACC.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not, again.
And then for us defensively, the thing I'd say is, and Coach Fuller spoke to the media today, he's talking about the basic things that Satterfield offenses run well. And he says, they run outside zone stretch about as good as anybody in the country. And immediately my brain went to, well, we've got linebackers now. So I feel better about that particular play because that puts a lot of onus on the linebackers and the agility of the defensive line. Mm-hmm. And we're good there and there. Their receivers, talking about Louisville, are not nearly as talented as LSU.
Well,
however, the one thing I'd say is I would test us vertically earlier in a play, not waiting for something to develop, just straight nines and let's see if our corners can run with them. That's something that LSU didn't challenge a whole lot. And so I think Louisville will do that.
Well, and that's been their hallmark against us in recent memory. I mean, they've done that a lot. You
Correct.
Think about last year's first half.
Yes.
It was like a firework. I mean, after every play, they're like, okay, they're going to throw it deep again here, guys. I mean, they're saying, show me you can stop.
Right, because we're showing that we're going to play a lot of man.
Yeah.
And so it's one-on-one.
Yes.
Can you do it?
And their whole argument was, show me you can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
That you can stop it, I should say. Yeah. No, it's interesting. Chef Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A deadly multi-vehicle accident occurred at 12:10 a.m. on I-10 near mile marker 205 westbound yesterday morning. FHP said they received calls of a wrong-way driver on I-10 near Thomasville Road. FHP officials located the stand after it had been involved in a head-on collision. Both drivers in the accident were pronounced dead at the scene. 3 women were detained by law enforcement officials for operating an unlicensed gaming operation. Gloria Marshall, age 61, Patricia Thomas, 65, and Lisa Trimble, age 55, were arrested and charged. The GBI engaged in a lengthy investigation, and agents discovered an unlicensed business operating coin-operated amusement machines where customers were receiving cash payouts for winning credits. Law enforcement executed search warrants at an unlicensed establishment located at 3665 Pearson Highway in Homerville, along with a residence. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly cloudy skies expected this afternoon with a chance for scattered storms. High of 89, southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight, lows level off around 70, mainly cloudy skies. Slight chance for scattered storms again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 87, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 86.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
We need to have history. We need to have literature. It deserves an explanation. We don't need to be promoting lifestyles that come into play for your average elementary school.
Well, I had an experience with this. When my daughter was in school, her teacher gave her a book to read, but then she asked me what the C word is.
That was in the book.
That was in the book.
Okay, so talking about the C word. So you're talking about conservatives, right?
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
One of them. They sit atop that poll, obviously.
I know.
Yeah. But, comfortable wins there. But even like, for example, Oklahoma, 2-0. Looked a little shoddy for about 2 quarters there. Little shoddy. I mean, a lot of the teams that I'm looking at, if you're Southern Cal, are you better on offense? Yes. World's better on offense. Does your defense suck? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Not a very good defense. You're going to have to win a lot of shootouts. Maybe you can. But you have something to be concerned about. I suppose Ohio State feels okay. They didn't look great against Notre Dame. Still won by 11. That was the week ago, I understand.
Right.
I'm
but
just
given
talking about,
more evidence about Notre Dame, you're saying,
yeah, I'm looking at Notre Dame like, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of the teams that feel good about themselves. Clemson's still wondering about their offense. They scored all of 7 points in the second half on Saturday, much to Tom's chagrin. That's a toughie.
Man, that's a
toughie.
bad beat,
Oh, buddy, I got nothing but bad beats going on right now. It's all right. Time to buck up, soldier. Thank God my prize picks came through for me, buddy.
Yeah, and that was a backdoor Jameis special right there.
Careful. But I'll tell you what.
What are you going to do?
That was a hell of a fourth quarter. A fourth quarter for the Aggies.
Right, that's what I said.
He looked, it was reminiscent of the second half against Notre Dame in 2014. Yeah. It was a lot of things. Yeah. He was great. He was great.
Mm-hmm.
Had a perfect quarterback rating. Did you see that in the second half?
I believe it.
No, I mean, he went nuts.
I saw it.
He went nuts.
Every throw would suggest as much.
Yeah, it was crazy to watch. And then Atlanta had to think, well, that might be the only game we win this year.
Did you see the question he was asked after the game was over? Because he said, I went in the tent, felt some pain. And then I forget who, Shannon Spake, I think, was the sideline reporter. Where was the pain, James? He goes, it was pain. There's pain everywhere, but you got to be resilient. You got to fight through.
It was pain.
It was pain. The pain was everywhere.
Pain was everywhere. Yeah. Oklahoma State, we don't trust. They're 2-0. Kentucky, okay. Well, all right. Maybe Kentucky. Maybe they feel very good about themselves right about now. Arkansas, we'll see. I worry about their defense still. Man, there's former Florida State players out here just killing it. Arkansas, Marshall. Yeah, well, I mean, that was, good for him. I don't know. I just don't. There aren't a ton of teams that feel really good about themselves just yet, which is that's the point we're making. It's like, well, we could feel good about ourselves.
I mean, if you're going to
if you're going to let us allow ourselves to get in here, man.
The door is right there. And it's just, there's a welcoming person inside saying, come on, join us. Leave the tent of suspicion.
Speaking of which, every year, every effing year, that's why I came up with the tent of suspicion. Two teams that I invented the tent of suspicion for. The first, lost on Saturday, as they always do early in the year because that's who they are. Wisconsin losing at home to Washington State. Thanks for the 14 points, Wisconsin. Have a good day. Grand opening, grand closing for Wisconsin, always. Why do we bother? Why do we bother every year?
Because it's fun.
Stop doing it, everybody. Stop. So goodbye to their sorry ass. Off they go, just like we thought they would. And then usually, back in the day, now they've just been permanently removed. They can't get into the tent anymore. They wish they could get into the tent. UCLA, never matters. But the point would be, that's why I invented it. Those two programs who annually for forever were ranked in the top 25 inexplicably. Wisconsin always did us the service. I give Wisconsin credit. They'll go ahead and remove themselves from contention usually pretty early. We're like, okay, well that's the end of you.
They couldn't make it through happy hour.
Like
Wisconsin's got to go.
We all met as an office at 4:00. I pulled Wisconsin aside and said, now remember last year, let's keep it together. Just because we're all excited college football's back, you can't be 3 sheets at the wind by 5:30. I need you to keep it together. We got a lot of people here. I don't want to have to call an Uber for you at 5:30 on the first big get-together on a Friday. But here we are, Wisconsin. Look at you, face down asleep at the end of the bar. Keith came over and pulled me aside and said, Wisconsin's done dealing. What happened? Shots right when he walked through the door. What? It's 4:15. Get him out. Get him out. I would suggest next year we don't invite him. That's mean. We should invite him. Jeff, by now, how many years are we going to come to this thing? My guy is face down in the muck before 6 p.m. All right, Wisconsin, you got to go. Good to see you, too. Yes, we got you. You're good. Good to see you. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186. Hey, this is Greg Tish. Here's something you might know about me. I don't drink coffee. I have never had a cup of coffee in my life. Well, that is until now. So why change now? Well, it's because my dear friend at Grassroots Coffee reached out to me after hearing me say that and insisted that I give his product a try. I've been making a huge mistake. The world of coffee is fascinating. I always thought coffee is coffee, you know? No, it's not. I have tried their coffee and it is fantastic. Now, I've got a fascination with learning more about the best coffee in our area. Grassroots Coffee is locally roasted, locally owned, and locally loved. You can find whole bean Grassroots Coffee on the local aisle at Publix, also in Whole Foods. But the best way to get this black gold is to order it online. They literally grind the fresh roasted beans to your preferred level, bag it, write the date on it by hand so you know the exact day your coffee was roasted. It doesn't get any more fresh than that. Order yours now. Just go to grassrootscoffee.com and choose the coffee you want and how you want it. And join me. Let's step up our coffee game together and also support a great local business.
So let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. All heard that demand is high, inventory is low. So how do you get a leg up on the rest of the buyers all making offers on the same house as you? Oh, that's a toughie. But the first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friend Shannon at Legendary Home Loans. Shannon will set you up with a complete pre-approval underwriting. It used to be an upgrade, but nowadays it's got to be standard. You want to get your offer on a new home pushed to the front of the line, you need a TBD full underwriting approval from Legendary Home Loans. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is real and ready to go. It's tough out there these days, folks, so why not have the advantage of a proven winning team in your huddle? Get pre-approval underwriting from my friend Shannon with the one and only Legendary Home Loans. Call now, 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
So I'm trying to think of the scenarios by which Florida State goes and establishes. I mean, God forbid, Tom, as we we spitball, if you will, about what we think can happen in regards to the game on Friday night. You mentioned it earlier, just for those tuning in, 8:00 is the kickoff against Boston College. That's been announced, 8:00 kickoff for BC, ACC Network. Okay. I mean,
Well, they're projecting too. I think that's
They
the league
are.
executive saying, you know what? They're going to beat Louisville. They're going to be 3-0 ranked at home. So let's put them on at night.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they're projecting that too. I would love to confirm their suspicions. I think it's important. Again, when we're talking about lofty win total projections and excitement and enthusiasm being built around a program, every win matters. It doesn't really matter what we are or are not. If you're just talking about a team and a win total and fooling recruits and creating buzz and obviously generating some confidence moving forward, then every win matters. And maybe Louisville's not any good at all, and you go and you win that game, 7:30 Friday night. And if you're able to do it, obviously you start thinking about, all right, well, 4-0 is right there staring you in the face. Wake was a game that we said before the season Florida State needed to win because it's a home game. You got to stop steady having problems with Wake, okay? And then from there, who knows what the number could be, but if you get to 5-0, sweet Jesus, all of a sudden everything's on the table. I mean, our wildest dreams this year, I think wildest dreams would have been 10-2 for some of the most extreme projections. But all of a sudden at 5-0, maybe.
Yeah, it's still a maybe.
I still think it's a maybe because Clemson,
yeah.
NC State, Florida, and Miami on the road.
NC State, Clemson back-to-back, too, is not nothing.
Well, if you could go 1-1 in those games, you'd be doing something. That'd be
You're
huge.
staring 10-2 in the face if you go 1-1 in those games.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll cross that.
You don't want to think about that right now.
I don't. But, I was looking at an article this morning, and we are all doing this now, and I normally don't clamor for such recognition, don't care. ESPN released a college football power ratings after 2 weeks. Florida State's in the top 25. And what I did, rather than care about that power rating, although it's nice to be recognized every now and again, was look at the teams in it and say, what I thought in my head, where we're at with those teams, how many of them could we beat? How many of them would we beat? How many of them, and it's just fascinating to watch because I think the parity in college football is pretty evident. There just feels like a bunch of coin flips all throughout that list. There aren't. So unless your team is, again, right now, Ohio State, Georgia, unless you're one of those teams, I would assume Alabama will bounce back. I mean, they do still have immense talent.
I think part of it's really tough, I'd love to have this kind of a tough problem, quote unquote, but they get a free strike every year, and the kids know that. So I'm sure that equates to, unfortunately for them, poor work ethic at times because they know if they lose, so what? We win the conference championship game, one of those two things, we're still going to the playoff. So you don't have the desperation that a Texas does. I know Saban has a hallmark to evoke that, but human nature at some point.
Well, if I'm an Alabama fan and I'm fighting the temptation to be spoiled, I appreciate a win like they had on Saturday. I really do. For the reasons you just laid out. Hour number 2 forthcoming. We'll speak to Ira Schoffel that hour as we are wont to do on Mondays.
More of the Jeff Cameron Show, live and local on Real Talk 93.3, WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre could not say if any former U.S. president or other American officials will be joining President Biden and his wife to Queen Elizabeth's funeral next week.
This is a decision that is made for the UK government. They decide who gets invited. Again, the invite was for the president and the first lady only. It is for them to move to decide on how they're going to proceed with invites, and they have.
That state funeral will be held at London's Westminster Abbey next Monday. Ukrainian troops reclaiming a wide swath of territory from Russia, pushing all the way back to the northeastern border in some places. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre.
It's clear they are fighting hard to defend their country and take back territory. And so, again, we're going to just continue to support their need to succeed on the battlefield. That has been our goal.
The Ukrainian military said its troops had freed more than 20 settlements in 24 hours. Also at townhall.com in consumer news, a new poll gives low points to how healthcare is handled in the U.S.
Fewer than half of Americans who responded to a poll by the Associated Press and the North Center for Public Affairs Research say that the U.S. healthcare system is generally handled well. Only 12% say it's handled extremely or very well. Those who answered the poll also give lower marks for how prescription drug costs, quality of care at nursing homes, and mental health care are being handled. Only 6% say those healthcare services are done very well in the U.S. And 80% say they're at least moderately concerned about getting access to quality health care when they need it. Donna Warder, Washington.
On Wall Street, the Dow had 239 points. The NASDAQ is up 145. More of these stories at townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon two factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-15.
If you're a business owner of any kind, you need advanced fire protection services. We are AFPS, and we provide high-quality life safety services throughout Northwest Florida, and we've been doing it since 1989, with offices now in Tallahassee. Fire sprinklers, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, hood suppression systems, and emergency exit lights. For all of your life safety equipment, we've got you covered 24/7. We are Advanced Fire Protection Services. For a free life safety system evaluation, visit WeSaveLives.com. That's WeSaveLives.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
the summer kind of speculating exactly what this team would or would not be and what we hoped they would be. And I remember at one point we said, you got to win one of the two games, either the LSU game or the Louisville game. You can't lose both those games. Can't be 1-2. Well, it's good news. That's behind you now. They're not going to be 1-2 when it comes to those two games. Florida State has already beaten LSU. So now all of a sudden you're on the cusp of winning both said games. And if I told you in the offseason they were going to start the year 3-0, think how that would have felt in the moment. You'd have been like, well, that's a lofty expectation there, Cameron.
I would have said that sounds like my W's and L's. Wow.
Yeah.
What a great
You'd have
pick.
been really excited, right? You've been really, really excited. Well, the opportunity is there. It is presented. It can happen for Florida State. They practiced today. That practice went, in your estimation,
fairly well. Mike said afterwards that it was bookended with good intensity. I think that's accurate. But this was one of those whoa, not giddy up days. So you would have loved it. A lot of special teams work today. But the first portion, they do
great, awesome.
Third period of practice, we can't shoot video for, but we can still kind of discuss. Jordan was sharp as a tack, man. It's just that has become a you just set it and forget it, and that's just a strange place to be because he was good and solid. I'd say solid with good days in camp, and now, if he's pressured, he gets off his spot and he just makes a throw. He fully anticipates where the opening is going to be. It's fun to watch. Hope it continues because it's got to be a bit more emotional for him to go back to this Louisville stage on a Friday night. He's already played there before, but it was a COVID year, so it should be an emotional night for him.
I think the biggest factor leading into this game, sadly, and it's a good thing that you had the week 0 game because what it afforded you was an extra bye week, and that bye week just occurred for Florida State. And it turned out to be important because Florida State has been dealing with a lot of injuries, a lot of guys that are banged up to varying degrees. And I can't get into great details about who all those players are, but I do know this. Some of those things were mentioned publicly by Mike Norvell. And you had guys play a little banged up in the game against LSU. For example, Maurice Smith comes to mind. There's a guy we knew going into the game was questionable, but he played pretty well too. So there's an example of toughness. Duke Cooper played in that game, and we know he wasn't completely healthy going into that game, and it showed. I actually don't think he played very well. Going to need him to return to form. The guy we saw at the end of the season last year, as opposed to what we've seen so far this year. Johnny Wilson got beat up a little bit in the Duquesne game and played in this game, and I think this past week off probably really helped him. Darius Washington, another offensive lineman that we talk about, who if need be, could have played, but is a guy now that is probably ready to go, we think.
Yeah, that's one thing that Mike said after practice today that raised my eyebrow. In retrospect, he said, now, Darius was available in that game, but I was hoping we wouldn't have to use him because I don't know that he was fully up to speed. And so you didn't have to use him, and now this is the payoff because if anything ever happens for you at tackle again, which would suck, but if it did, Darius can slide there. If something happened for you at center, he could play at center. It's just that dude is very valuable at this point. When Bless Harris and your other center goes down, I've already forgotten his name.
Lyles?
Can you believe that? I've forgotten his name.
You talking about Caden Lyles?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay.
And he's still at practice.
Yeah, well, I don't care that he's at practice. He's useless to us, but yeah,
okay, well,
good for him.
Fair.
Yeah.
But when you lose those two guys,
Yeah.
Darius becomes all that more critical to making it through all 12 games. So it's good to see that he's full speed.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, look, we know this about football. You're not going to get through any given week, most Saturdays, without somebody getting beat up, somebody getting banged up, somebody potentially missing some time, somebody that's going to have to be replaced by a backup that needs to be at least sufficient, at least average. Last year, anytime Florida State had a guy go down, they just did not have the requisite depth to compete at a lot of positions. That's especially true along the offensive line. That appears to be a much better situation right now. They just proved it's a much better situation already by having guys who could step in and play well. Obviously, Turntine did that at right tackle for Bless Harris and not only survived, but played decently. So they're in a better place. You hold your breath. Weeks like this last one where you can kind of heal up and get ready and lock it in now for a big game against Louisville and move to 3-0. I think, Mike has been trying for a long time to get guys to understand that there's a mental toughness and a physical toughness that you have to have, but also if you buy in to what I'm telling you to do, to work this way, we'll win games. I don't know that I can properly describe how big it would be for this team to start the season 3-0 after having done that this offseason. Coaches preach these things, and sometimes players do or do not buy in. But where it has to happen, there has to be a payoff for the ones who do. And I think the first real accomplishment for Mike was getting everybody to see the vision that he had, even when they were losing games, and then stick with it, and then do it this offseason. Now you want that just reward because you get it. Now you're brimming with confidence going into the BC game, which was announced to be an 8 o'clock kickoff here in Tallahassee. ACC Network mentioned that earlier. For those just tuning in, mention it again. Now you can be 4-0. And who knows at that point, man? I mean, you get to 4-0. You are hosting that Clemson game later. You're hosting the Wake game. You're hosting a number of games that are pivotal for you to have a shot at maybe winning the Atlantic. I don't know. Dare to dream.
But this is the other side of the coin. You're talking about the parity of college football and how that showed in week 2.
Oh,
all over
the board.
place.
It was amazing.
That means you're just as vulnerable. You know,
Correct.
this is an
I don't
opportunity on
assume
Friday.
anything. Yeah.
Right. I feel good that on paper we're the better team against Louisville on Friday. I like us at more positions than I like Louisville. And Friday against UCF only cemented that feeling for me. But does that mean that we cannot lose? Absolutely not. You could go lay an egg on Friday. Absolutely. You could. And Louisville could be sky high for their home opener. They haven't played at home yet. So a lot of weird things can happen.
Well, they
on
will
Friday.
be sky high for the home opener. That win against UCF guarantees they'll be up for that game. They feel like, okay, yeah, listen, awful start to the season in the ACC, getting blown out by Syracuse, bounce back with a gut check win over UCF. Now let's go ahead and secure a home win against Florida State. Obviously, we have not played well there. They're going to be listen, we're still a name. Anytime we show up, that's an exciting time for most of the schools in this league. So that place will be rocking. How do you handle that? I would like to think they can handle it well. You just handled New Orleans exceptionally well. Now, one thing I will say is in these bigger games, I don't need to see the sort of mistakes in the first quarter that we've been seeing. The kind of, I mean, what are we doing here? Opening kickoff, kicked out of bounds, and you commit a personal foul penalty on top of it. You get 30 free yards up there right off the bat. That leads to a situation where you're behind the 8 ball. If you do that on the road, a true road game like this, who knows, man? You do not want them to be emboldened to a level where we begin to see a team tree. And that's what you do when you give away yardage because you're a little too hyped as well.
And then conversely, if you can get to a situation where it's 17-3 like it was against LSU, they already are in a hot seat situation with their head coach. And that building can turn against the home sideline very quickly if you can be the team to put them down early. You have to finish the job better than we did against LSU. But at that point, the crowd becomes your friend in a way New Orleans never could because it was a 50-50 split. With you got 80-85% Louisville fans there, if you get out to a decent lead, it becomes a self-loathing environment, which is great for us. It's a great way to be in a position to finish a game and finish a game with a resounding win. So if you can start well, they might actually work against each other, the fans and the players.
We're in a position this year, and media and fans, as we identify where the program's going and what's possible for the program and what Mike's career is and all that, to kind of perhaps bear witness to this maturation process of which you speak, right? Like, okay, took a step forward, really from the first game. Now, Duquesne is a glorified high school, and that's not me trying to knock Duquesne. Florida State and Duquesne ought not play, but they did play. So can you be mature enough to handle your business in that game? To go out there, never have it linger, never have it be a question, do what you're supposed to do. You're physically superior, take care of business. They did that. They did that right off the bat. All right, check. You don't get a huge amount of kudos for that, but it's noted. Check. There's a maturity to that. Can you go and handle the environment, country watching, prime time, Sunday night, opportunity is huge. You're catching LSU in the middle of a transformational season. Obviously, Brian Kelly comes over. He's a good coach. How quickly can LSU get up to snuff? We don't know. Can you go ahead and hand them that defeat, embolden yourself moving forward? They do. Now, could they have cleaned a lot of things up? Yep. And that's what this bye week hopefully has helped them do. They've got a lot to clean up, in fact, but they got the win. It was huge. And the thing that he talked about was fight, play the next play, fight, play the next play. You're going to have things go against you. Can't be lamenting all of that. You got to play the next play. Okay, good. They did it. Check. You win the game. Now, where are you again on this maturity scale? Can you go up there and beat a team that I think you're better than? I think you're at a place now where if you go out on the road and, let's say we actually do get out to another lead Can you show that you learned from your previous setback there, meaning a game you won, but you almost let get away? Can you go and keep your foot on the throttle? Don't play not to lose. Play to blow their ass out. Now, that would be a huge development. We'll see. Maybe they're not there. I'm not predicting that. I'm not saying that we're going to go up there and win 38-17. I am saying that if they're in that position, let's see it. Let's see if they continue to take those steps, because every one of these games, we're not going to make a lot of assumptions about where FSU is at. We're learning along with everybody else. This is new. They've had losing records. You can't assume that they're ready to compete at an elite level in this conference just yet, because they beat LSU, who lost 6 games a year ago, 7 games, you count the poll. So I don't know what to think about them. I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you that I think I know for certain that Florida State's going to go up there and handle this success the way a veteran team who expects to win does. I don't know that that's all the way back yet. I don't know if that's been kind of indoctrinated throughout this roster just yet. I don't know. So we're going to be watching every quarter of this game very carefully. That's what this season is. I mean, we're learning. Hopefully we're winning while we learn, and we're watching steps be taken towards being trusted to where you now, all right, what's going to happen? It's a weird year in college football. I think we're already seeing that. Like we've talked about to start the show, it's an exciting year in college football. Doesn't appear to be too many juggernauts. I do think that the ACC is obviously ripe for the taking there. You got an opportunity maybe to put yourself in a position to do something special, but you got to take care of business this Friday.
I just feel like, you're looking at the Duquesne effort, and yes, it's a complete mismatch. We could have run anything we wanted anytime we wanted.
Yeah.
But I did like that we chose to be physical and go straight ahead.
Yeah.
I like that, because that forges an identity. Weren't able to do that as much against LSU. I think the sack adjusted yards per carry total was 3.8, something like that. Not awful. Certainly not to the offensive line standards of the past 2 or 3 years. Like, that's not a bad number by those standards. Those years, you'd say, wow, great job. But not great. Missed some things too. I don't think they were thrilled with the running backs and some of the choices they made, or maybe they took too long to make a choice. In this game, though, I do feel like it starts with the ground attack. Even though Jordan was great against LSU, and I think he's going to be at that level more times than not, I would start by attacking them on the ground, and I feel good about what that can do for you. Because if you can consistently generate there, and then Jordan plays off of that, he had to play himself first against LSU, and you had more than enough to win. But if he can play off of what we want to do first, which is run the ball, I think Louisville is going to give up those runs. It could be really fun, really fast for this offense on Friday.
I think Louisville's in a position where they still have to prove. I thought coming into the season, there were about 3 or 4 teams in the ACC. Every year, we talk about this a lot. When you come into the season, a couple of teams atop the league that you make some assumptions about. You assume Clemson's going to be really good. You'll try to identify the team that's going to come out of the Coastal. That's usually a crapshoot. But you'll pick 1 or 2 teams that you think, all right, well, Miami's pretty good this year. Last year with Pickett, it was pretty evident that Pitt was going to be a tough team to beat over there. But we always have these little debates. And then everything else is kind of an unknown. There's usually a team that might surprise you. Somebody out of the league that you didn't expect to take a big step forward, maybe a young quarterback, matures quickly and has himself a game that you didn't expect, or a season that you didn't expect. So when I look at, when I looked at Louisville, I kind of thought about them in a similar vein that I did Syracuse. And here's what I mean by that. I assumed that Louisville's offense would be pretty good. I don't know that I should assume that right now based on what I've seen from Louisville with just the 7 points against Syracuse, a lot of missed opportunities inside the 40, but nonetheless, you got to make it count. They didn't. They sputtered even off and on against UCF quite a bit.
Did.
That's interesting to watch. So I'm not so sure my assumption about their offense being good turns out to be true. Don't know. Defensively, I thought, what if Louisville's defense takes a step forward, they're going to be tough for us to beat on the road. That's what I thought preseason. Not in love with their defense so far. So if we're just judging the 2 programs by what we've seen up to this point, you feel a lot better about Florida State, and you have some concerns if you're a Louisville fan, objectively speaking. Syracuse was a team that I thought not very good, but if they're better on defense, they might give some people problems. They got a mobile quarterback and a very good running back and a veteran offensive line. That could be a problem for some people in this league, right? They've actually held to that to some extent. So let's find out exactly where we're at in this growth. Where exactly are we? We guessed that Jordan would take a step forward this year. So far, so good with Jordan.
It might be 2 steps.
We thought
Yeah.
we thought perhaps with better weapons at wide receiver, there would be a greater degree of consistency, and the ability to convert 3rd and medium, 3rd and long on occasion in a drop-back passing game could change everything about Florida State's offense. So far, we've seen that. The signs are very positive in that direction. Do we trust this defense yet to give us an A-plus effort on the road against a quarterback that has lit them up in Malik Cunningham? If they can give you something close to an elite effort or just a good effort.
Yeah, I'd say even a B effort might be enough in this game.
I think Florida State wins the game. I do. But here we sit on a Monday thinking about these things, but it's a Friday game, so it's going to come up on you quick, and you get excited about it that much earlier.
Well, that's where, okay, position groups you're concerned about. Do you start with corner?
I always start with corner right now. I don't see anything at corner that says we're special or even very good. Could we be above average? Yes, I think they could be above average at corner. I need Duke Cooper to be Duke Cooper.
Right.
I don't need him to be picked on. He was picked on in this last game.
This is also an interesting game to see what the rotation looks like. Has it changed? Is your 3rd guy different, your 4th guy, whatever it is, and is there a rotation to the snap count rather than, maybe 2 guys dominate 80 to 85% on the outsides?
Yeah.
I'm not saying this isn't about practice and hinting anything.
No.
I'm genuinely curious to see, you could look one way during the week, but then have they seen enough of game film where they say after 3 drives, all right, enough with this. We're moving you here, because they did it last year. When something wasn't working last year, they decided we're carving out roles and this is what we're going to be. And it was the Louisville game that helped them do that. And at that point, it was set it and forget it the rest of the season.
But I don't know who that would be right now, because Noles has played fine. Renardo Green hasn't done anything to give up the spot. They love Duke Cooper. I know that he hasn't
Greedy
been right.
got a lot of time against LSU.
He did.
I don't know. Would you give Jerrion more time than Greedy? Would you let Azarie on the field to play more?
Well, that's the next big step.
Shaheem Brown out there and you rotate 3 safeties at once, or have 3 safeties on the field at once? I mean,
there are a lot of opportunities. Yeah, you get your big nickel out there, right? Something along those lines.
That's what Fuller said last year.
Yeah.
I would have saved that soundbite if we didn't suck for the first 4 games.
I know. He brought that up, and I've always loved it, and it's a fun thing to say out loud, but I'm gonna hit him with the big nickel.
You're dropping him in a sock at him?
Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Football at El Jalisco, football at El Jalisco, what a combination. It's a great big celebration. It's football at El Jalisco. I can dig it. Who's playing? Oh, man, everybody. The ACC, the SEC, all the C's, and even the pros. The Bucks, the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys. Wow, far out. You bet, man. When the game is on, it's on at El Jalisco with incredible specials on everything from frosty cervezas to salty margaritas. Does Margarita know? Dios mío, not again. The best place to watch the game is El Jalisco. College, pros, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it, El Jalisco is football headquarters. And with 5 Tallahassee area locations, there's probably an El Jalisco right around the corner right now.
Let me tell you what T-Spark stands for. It stands for strength, commitment, teamwork, and heart. We don't ever quit until we've got nothing left to give. Our team is unstoppable. Want a guaranteed win? Call T-Spark Enterprises for your next roofing or construction project. We conquer all peaks. TSparkConstruction.com. License number CCC 1331204.
Lawson & Lawson Electrical Services has been Tallahassee's preferred residential electrician for over 30 years. Hi, this is Rowdy Lawson, and we've earned our reputation because we care about our customers, about quality, and about providing great service. We stand by every job we do and consider it a privilege to work on a family project like a new house, a custom addition, or a green renovation. For all your residential or service projects, call the good guys, Lawson & Lawson Electrical Services, 562-4111.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF Your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Let's face it, food shortages are a real threat now. Supply chain breakdowns, inflation, fuel prices, global conflicts, fertilizer cutbacks, farmers being encouraged not to plant. The stage is set for the peanut butter to hit the fan. But for some reason, Americans are still in denial about food shortages. Listen, we don't take risks with other things in our lives, so why take risks with your food security? Those who know what's coming are using today to prepare. Millions of Americans have purchased Ready Hour emergency food from My Patriot Supply, the brand people look for when they're ready for real preparedness. MyPatriotSupply.com is America's largest preparedness company. Get stocked up on emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage to get you through tough times ahead. Your other choice is to stand in government food lines, hoping for a handout. As we both know, that's not an option. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now. MyPatriotSupply.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Kent Show brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
We've got our show tonight at 7 o'clock. Is that 7 o'clock, right? Yep. In the coop. There it is. Robert Cooper going to be on Warchant TV tonight at 7 o'clock. And I'll have to go back and watch it. You know, I'm hosting a show for Husker Online tonight. That'll be fun.
Oh, my. So what are you guys going to talk about?
It should be an easy show. I serve it up to those guys that are on the ground in Lincoln covering that team on a daily basis. And the chat will be fun.
Yeah, I was
Husker Online.
I was about to say, is somebody going to be monitoring the chat?
Somebody will have to monitor the chat. Well,
there's be some hateful things.
All I would say to the fine folks there in Lincoln, who I will see tonight when I'm hosting that show, is no need for the hateful chatter on the chat tonight. You got your wish. He's gone.
Right. Actually, it should be a very happy chat.
It should be a night of celebration. Although this is what every fan base fears, including this one. This is why we've talked about it. The longer you remain irrelevant, the more it feels like it is becoming Everest to get back. You know, I mean, you have a situation where for the better part of 2 decades, you haven't mattered.
Yeah, I'd say if you're a college junior, they haven't mattered that kid's entire life if they went to Nebraska.
So it's a toughie. That's where you start to, hey man, are we even capable? Can we get this turned around? You start really worrying about it. And, I would think tonight there'll be a lot of topics that center around who's the next guy.
Yeah, are you guys going to have a hot board for it already?
Well, I mean, look, do we not believe that Matt Rule isn't destined to make it in Carolina? He did wonders at Baylor. I'd put a call into Matt Rule. Be like, hey, man, you somehow got Baylor winning. Surely you can come out here and win. And let's face it, the pro game's not your deal. I could look at him. I could look at you're going to hear Matt Campbell's name. You know I'm not a big fan, but you're going to hear his name. I can promise you that. And then there will be all the guys that are connected in some way. I mean, there'll be a lot of guys that are assistants throughout the country that had some sort of connection back in the day that will probably get mentioned as well. I just like knowing we're not in that situation right now.
For now.
I just like knowing that we're not in that situation right now. Let's stay that way. Let's go get another win Friday night on the road, get to 3-0. This is the furthest thing from our mind is this discussion about who would be next at that point, right?
Pitchforks are in the barn.
Yeah.
The barn door is
Everybody's
locked.
like, no, we're good. We're
Yeah.
good. Everybody settle down. We're all right. Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. My cohort joins us on the program, and I'm excited about that. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
I'm great, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Crazy, crazy fun weekend in college football, which is one of the many reasons we love it. I'm sure the fan base reveled, as you well know, and you did too, to some degree, with Jimbo's failures in College Station. But all of this did was make me that much more excited about Florida State football and Florida State's opportunities. And I think this is a big one, Ira. They can go to 3-0. They can go on the road and get a win here. And I think they should. I think they look like the better team from what I've seen of Louisville so far this year. Talk to me, baby.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like when you watched a lot of teams, particularly Louisville on Friday night, you felt like, okay, well, Florida State plays the way they did for the most part of the LSU game, not the end and maybe not the very beginning, but for the most part of that game, you feel like, man, Florida State could play with just about anybody, and you feel like they're better than a Louisville. You feel like they're better than some of the teams in this conference that you weren't sure if they could beat. So now the key is, okay, can you do it from week to week? And now they're coming off of a bye week, but in general, can you play at that level every week, not have these highs and lows? And that's the next step for this program. And so that's the question. The question is this week isn't, can you play above your head? It's, can you just play as well as you should be able to play? Because if you do that, yeah, you could get to 3-0, and then there's so much on the table at that point.
Relative health of the team, big picture, Ira, you can go wherever you want. I know we have to be careful about what we report and don't. Everything has to be, at least have been acknowledged by the head coach. But I guess give our listeners an idea of how healthy Florida State is or is not heading into this game.
I think they're better off probably right now than they were where they were this time going into the LSU game. At that point, we didn't know, is Maurice Smith going to be able to play? Is Johnny Wilson going to be able to play? Is Amarian Cooper going to be able to play? And those guys did play in that game. And now they practiced a couple times last week, a little bit limited. And Mike Norvell thinks that they're much closer to 100% than they were before. But yeah, I mean, that LSU game is a physical game. There are some guys that we know of that were a little bit banged up in that game, and they may or may not have them this week. So that's going to be something that it's a process, I think, getting back from that LSU game, because that was a really physical game. So I don't know that they're going to have everybody back this week, but I think they're probably in better shape in a lot of places than they were even going into the LSU game.
As we sit here on a Monday, short week again, what's your gut feeling telling you about how Florida State's going to play on Friday? I'm obviously asking your opinion right now, but we didn't have a game this past Saturday, so we got a lot of time to think about what the win meant. We've watched a lot of college football. Seems to be wide open this year. We got to see Louisville on Friday. You've been at the practices. What's your gut tell you about where you think Florida State's head's at and how they'll play on Friday night?
I think the offense will play well. I do think that Louisville's not very good defensively, I don't believe. And I think if you're balanced, which Florida State should be, I think Florida State's got good receivers and the way Jordan's playing. I think Florida State will play well offensively. I'm concerned about what Louisville looks like offensively at home. They have not looked very good offensively the first two games, but they were on the road for both those games. Malik Cunningham, I think, there are times where he's dynamic when he feels confident and feels good about what he's doing, and I think they're going to feel that way at home. So to me, that's going to be the key. Can this defense play, solid football, fundamentally sound football, force Louisville to make extended drives, not give up cheapies? Because that really has been the key. Not the key, but really that's been their problem. You go back to that game a couple of years ago where they just gave up 3 touchdowns.
Oh yeah,
and you're not expecting that anymore. But make them put together long drives, extended drives, convert third downs, make tough plays, make tough passes from Malik Cunningham. I think Florida State will be okay. I do think the offense is going to play well. I'm a little bit curious to see how the defense does against their offense. I'm seeing a trend here, Ira. You and I concur on this. I think that a lot of Florida State fans probably feel this way, right? We're starting to say, I'm beginning to trust this offense. I'm just not sure that I completely trust this defense. And we do
we do live in an era where offenses have had the rules catered to them in a way that makes it really difficult to play great defense. But also Florida State has these moments where you're just unsure if they completely figured it out or if they're talented enough. So I think that's probably going to be the talking point for you and me for weeks to come, unless they shock us and go out and dominate on defense. Don't you think that we're pretty much all year long going to be like, defensively is going to be the problem?
Yeah, and I mean, look, I think there were times in that LSU game where the defense front looked dominant, but then there were also plays where they gave up contain and made some mistakes, and then the back end has not been probably as good as we expected. I think a lot of us looked at the fact that you bring back 4 or 5 starters in the secondary, the fact that you bring back 2 guys who started as true freshmen last year, Marion Cooper and Kevin Noles. You're just expecting them to take this another big jump, and I don't know if that's really happened. I did one nice thing in practice today we wrote about, people could read about on the site, was Kevin Noles had a nice pick during the one-on-ones. I mean, it looked aggressive, made a really nice break on the ball, and finished the play. And I think the secondary, to me, we haven't seen them play their best yet. I think the front played pretty well overall in the LSU game, but we need to see more out of that secondary, and this is a good opportunity.
Great opportunity, and Malik Cunningham has lit him up in the past, so I would think that they're hungry to get it done. Good to talk to you as always, brother. Talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jeff. See you.
Yeah, be good, man. That's Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. I still trusted Noles. I know I mentioned him in a positive light earlier, and somebody pointed out that he hasn't played well. I'm dating back to last year where I thought he played really well, and I think he'll play well. He's a good football player. The rules in college football and the way that offenses work now, I think the standard for a good day at the office on defense has changed quite a bit over the years. I remember in the 90s, you could go into a stadium expecting maybe a shutout over team. I never expect shutouts anymore, ever. I don't really, even against middling teams, I don't. So I think if you can hold in the modern game a team to less than 24 points, you should win the game. And I think Florida State can hold Louisville to 24 or fewer points, and I think they can score more than 24 points and should, frankly, this Friday.
Yeah, the only matchup I see again is I'm not enamored with Louisville's receivers, but if I am, in the offensive meetings this week or last week's, looking at advanced scout for FSU, you're going to challenge them down the field.
Yeah.
LSU did early on that fade to Boutte. He drops it, and Akeem fights through. Akeem fights through. It's a nice play. It's good recovery, but that's open. They don't really go back to it at any point. Now, our pressure affected some of those things.
A lot of that, yeah.
But it's not for a lack of us challenging those guys in one-on-one in a lot of those situations. So if I'm Louisville, I say, so they're going to challenge LSU's guys one-on-one. That means that's definitely going to be the case for us. We've got to show it. We've got to see if we can do it. And the ball's got to be out now, Malik. That would be the coaching stuff this week. And also rolling the pocket, getting him into, quick hitters, little things like that. There are some things on film that LSU did not do that Louisville can try, and it's just a matter of seeing if we can get downhill, make those plays, and then cover in space.
And we're allowed to learn, too, so we saw that same film.
For sure.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely. You can say, hey, look, we got to do this.
And to a positive end, last year they did develop, and they did get better. So that's important to say. It's not they weren't fixed as terrible in game 1, and they were terrible in game 12. Corner play and secondary play got a lot better as last year went on.
I think the number one thing I'm concerned about in the game, besides Malik Cunningham's ability to break, contain, and make plays with his legs, but he's a threat to do that every week, and lots of teams have figured out how to kind of contain that to a degree by which they could operate and have a chance to win the game. Certainly already this year, that's happened twice. So you can do it, but is Ryan Fitzgerald? Let's just be honest about it. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. I don't believe in him, and I think we're going to play a lot of 50-50 type games. This might qualify as one. Vegas has Florida State favored by 1.5, which shows you the growth of Florida State so far early in the season in the eyes of Vegas, but and perhaps the decline of what they view Louisville to be, maybe a little bit of both. Florida State before the season was not favored in this game, but 1.5 favored on the road. Okay.
Yeah, these are the two concerns. It's corner and it's kicker.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm FSU, obviously this is always the way you want to start a game, but I want his first kick to be an extra point because I don't think that's a small thing. I would rather have him start kicking an easy extra point, burying it through the middle before I ask him to go try a 44-yarder. Because confidence builds. You need the confidence to build.
Maybe a lot of extra points is the way to build.
Yeah, if you get in the red zone, you got to finish here.
You can't
go. You can't have 2 goal-to-go possessions with 0 points in this game.
Yeah, agreed. If you're hearing this right now and you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, turn up the volume. Listen to this. My friend Shannon with Legendary Home Loans has a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference in their community. When it's time to buy a new home, he'll waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes. That's a $1,600 value right out the gates. Also, if you decide to use their preferred title company for the closing, you'll save another $600. It's over $2,200 in discounts right off the top. Obviously, it's nice to save $2,200. So if you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, a nurse, or a school teacher, and you're looking to buy a new home, go hook it up with my man Shannon Young, Legendary Home Loans. Ask about their Hometown Heroes program. Call 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or you can visit FSUHomeLoans.com, FSUHomeLoans.com.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Fire Department stated that Captain Brendan Rudy was killed in an off-duty accident Saturday night. Florida Highway Patrol reported the accident Saturday night, stating that a white GMC truck lost control and struck a tree near Owl's Hollow Crest. TFD stated in a post on Facebook, Captain Rudy was a family man, leader, and his loss will be felt deeply across our community. He will be missed greatly. Please respect the privacy of his family during the time of grief. This is the second loss for the department in less than a year. The Leon County Sheriff's Office announced Friday evening that a 15-year-old student at Godby High was detained for a gun and drug offenses. Around noon Friday, a teacher detected the odor of marijuana and escorted the student to an administrator's office. A search of the student's locker was conducted, and they found marijuana and also a gun. Deputies determined the student purchased the weapon from an unknown source, and there was no intent of violence towards students or school staff. This is Rachel Anae with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly cloudy skies expected this afternoon with a chance for scattered storms. High of 89, southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight. Lows level off around 70. Mainly cloudy skies. Slight chance for scattered storms again tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 87. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless with zero gravity. All of your worries and stress melt away. Your mind stops racing and you fall into a profound state of pure relaxation. This is available to you right now at Tallulah Delta 8 Plus Floating in Railroad Square for just $50. These state-of-the-art floating pods are unlike anything else you've ever experienced. And while you're there, you can shop for some of the latest and greatest CBD and Delta 8 products on the market. Natural pain management, stress relief, and better sleep are all at your fingertips at Tallulah. Tell them Jeff Cameron sent you and thank me later.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
There's a TikTok that's going viral because of a butter softening method. They are putting the Vermont Creamery butter in the waistband of her pants. Give it 5 minutes. You can go and measure out your ingredients, and then your butter is ready to go. You cannot do this in Florida.
No.
Because your pants will be full of butter in 2 minutes. Somebody try it. Post on TikTok.
Unless it says juicy across the back.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Highly trained crew that can be held to the high standards T-Spark is known for. Experts in their craft with pride in their work. That's the T-Spark difference. Best in town. Give them a call today, 766-1340, or get a free quote online at tsparkconstruction.com. Some crazy numbers here. I was looking at some stats from the weekend, Tom. Nebraska was 254-0 at home since 1901 when scoring at least 35 points.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Well, this guy is a trendsetter until he wasn't.
Toughie. I mentioned the Kentucky stat, 3-2 in their last 5 games against Florida. We all know that prior to this recent run, Florida had won 31 consecutive games against Kentucky. 31. Sweet Jesus. Army had 222 yards passing at halftime against UTSA, most in any single game since 2007. Black Knights finished with a robust 304 yards passing, but yes, they lost 41-38 in overtime. I was getting 2.5 points. Thank you, Army. Missouri threw interceptions on 4 consecutive drives against Kansas State on 10 offensive plays. What does it say you do here?
That sounds like the beginning of our spring game with those 2-point drills.
And then I mentioned Iowa had 316 total offensive yards so far this season. That includes 150 total against Iowa State. They lost that game 10-7. They're the first FBS team since 1979 McNeese State to score and allow 10 or fewer points in their first 2 games. Wow.
Oh, period. I thought you were going to say and go 1-1 or something along those lines.
No, every time we do a stat like that, I think back to that series you had against the Nats many moons ago.
Yeah, that's right. We outscored them 8-2 and lost the series 2-1. Anytime you're being compared to McNeese State in 1979, that's a short list, man.
That's a toughie, buddy.
Yeah.
That's a toughie. Man, some crazy numbers. Fun times. Hey, Kansas won over the weekend. Old Lance Leopold could be the candidate there at Nebraska, by the way. They are 2-0, I believe, Kansas.
What was their season total? 2.5?
I think so. I got to double check it.
Oh, all right. Punch it in, Jayhawks.
Lance Leopold is doing a good job there. Good old Lance. It's tough to sell it, right? You know, you think about if you were in that situation, if you're Nebraska, I mean, you can't let pride get in the way. Perhaps Kansas's coach is the best coach you can get. And there's, it is what it is. I mean, it's a toughie.
I don't know. It's just a tough name. I play the name games not just for position and, does this guy sound like a linebacker or a kicker or a quarterback or a safety, but for a coach. This dude sounds like he's Renaissance Fair material, not head coach material.
Lance Leopold, Renaissance.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, that's your Renaissance Fair name.
I don't know. I mean, first of all, you're going to hear a lot of people say things like Bob Stoops, and that kind of makes me laugh. I would put the call in, as I said earlier. I think I would definitely look at Luke Fickell.
Life Spectator chimes in with a true statement. Lance Leopold is half the man that Mark Mangino was.
It's well done. I did, Briley. I did talk about Florida losing. I think it's not a surprise that Florida lost at all. I'll get to this one too, Art, but it's not a surprise that Florida lost. It's that their quarterback went into a shell. And I think Anthony Richardson would be my chief concern after that game, because the confident, emboldened, physically gifted, I don't know what else to describe, but emerging superstar of a quarterback that saw the field in a win over Utah became a shell of himself when forced to throw the ball from the pocket consistently, and kind of looked like a guy that wanted no part of it. And that pick six is, whew,
yeah,
that is something.
Well,
that is something. It warmed my heart, if that's what you're asking. It warmed my heart indeed.
If you are a Gator enthusiast, now you've just got to hope that it's good Richardson and not terrible Richardson every week. That's all you've got.
So the really good Richardson is virtually unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like when he's doing his thing and looking like that guy, and he makes he's got a cannon. Now,
you're at the whims of his inconsistency.
Yeah.
That's what your season's about.
Yeah. Well, it was a beautiful thing to see. And then I would go back. Art brought up Urban Meyer to Nebraska. Nebraska would be desperate enough to hire a soulless piece of filth that is Urban Meyer. Lots of programs would be. There is no prerequisite on being a decent human being. A lot of people have hired him in the wake of overwhelming evidence as to who he is. But One other thing he also is a winner.
Maybe I detected something that I wanted to detect, and it's not actually what happened. But how closely did you watch the Big Noon Kickoff halftime show?
Not at all.
Okay. So the TV's still on, walking around the house, taking a break. And nobody engaged him for the better part of 4 minutes. I don't know if anybody else saw this, but it was Brady Quinn and I think Leinert's on that stage as well, and one or two other guys. And he was sitting there on the end of the desk, just staring off in the opposite direction, and nobody would engage him in a topic. Nobody said, "Oh, that's a great point, Brady. Hey, coach, what do you think about this?"
What was the
it
topic?
Never happened.
Was the topic on morality, leadership? They couldn't bring him into the fold at that point.
It was about Quinn's injury, and then what do you do? Moving forward, how do you coach it from this point on? Brady Quinn was talking about how you turn your body to try to avoid your collarbone or your arm getting hurt, especially your throwing arm. But then they were talking about the ins and outs of the game. They've got a real one on their hands, and nobody asked Urban a question. I wonder if that is some sort of potential strike that they've got going on where they're saying, I'm not talking to this piece of trash. But it was long enough where you say, oh wow, they're choosing not to get Urban Meyer involved.
It's tough, too, because I think, you're in a position. I've thought of this before with some of the stuff that I've had to do. And this is not, it's not even meant to be a humble brag, but some of the stuff that I've done on SiriusXM, occasionally you'll have to talk to somebody that you don't have a very high opinion of. Like the producer will book a guest and you're like, and they want you to bring this guy on because they're either trying to work out a deal or they're thinking about ratings or whatever it might be. And you're like, really, I got to talk to Greg Norman. Yeah, I'd rather not do that. But it's not your place. And it's tough because then they do the interview. And I would think that those guys, there are probably people on that set who have very real concerns about the piece of filth that Urban Meyer is. And they don't want to work with him, but the company hired him. There's not much you can do about it. That's a toughie. Are they going to get up and walk away from a multi-million-dollar paycheck because they don't want to sit at the desk with Urban Meyer? No.
So you had to interview Colt McCoy?
Thank you, Live Spectator. I did not know Jared from Subway was a child molester at the time that I interviewed him. I also didn't want to interview him before this for the obvious reasons. Oh,
you were in the same room as Jared from Subway.
Yeah, he was sitting across from me. Fat ass. Yeah. There I was, prattling on about how he's so desperate. He'd gotten to be 600 pounds and decided to eat a bunch of subs all day. I was like, what is this? What am I talking to you for? Yeah, that was Clear Channel made me do that.
Your thoughts on Florida State football, Jared from Subway?
Oh, man. Aaron writes, hey, guys, my daughter had surgery today. We listen to the show together all the time. Can I get a shout out for her? Aria Parrish says, go Noles. Well, absolutely you can. And I wish her and you guys nothing but the best. Thanks so much for listening. And I hope she's okay.
Ditto, Aria. It's
Yeah,
a tough day. We're glad that maybe we can make you smile a little bit.
Let's hope. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, best of luck to you and the family. Absolutely. Let's do probables. You want to go to break and then come back and do probables? Yeah, let's do that. Jeff Cameron, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Over 50 years ago, when Paul Nicholson founded Paul's Termite and Pest Control, he had one goal in mind: provide the best service possible to his neighbors so they felt like family. Your problem was his problem, so today it's our problem. Paul's service area is our home. It's where our kids go to school, where we shop, and where we get involved with community organizations. So if some out-of-town company knocks on your door and begins pressuring you to sign an agreement for termite or pest control, you can bet on a few things. Number one, you'll never see that person again. Number two, your technician is likely to change often. And number three, your money will not stay in North Florida. These companies are sending your money to home offices in Atlanta, Orlando, Salt Lake City, or even Great Britain. Paul's Termite and Pest Control knows local means something to you. The health of your Tallahassee home, family, and pets is our number one priority. For the elimination of termites and pests and a greener lawn too, call your local company with local solutions. Paul's Termite and Pest Control.
Football at El Jalisco, football at El Jalisco, what a combination. It's a great big celebration. It's football at El Jalisco. They can dig it. Who's playing? Oh, man, everybody. The ACC, the SEC, all the C's, and even the pros. The Bucks, the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys. Wow, far out. You bet, man.
When the game is on, it's on at El Jalisco with incredible specials on everything from frosty cervezas to salty margaritas.
Does Margarita know?
Dios mío, not again. The best place to watch the game is El Jalisco. College, pros, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it, El Jalisco is football headquarters. And with 5 Tallahassee area locations, there's probably an El Jalisco right around the corner right now.
Sellers Tile does it better for business owners, contractors, designers, and homeowners. Better design ideas, better quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring, better mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions. And Sellers makes it easier with their amazing showroom and first-class professionals. Maybe it's time to get Sellers working for you on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com. For better style, quality, and design, go with Sellers in Tallahassee. Call 656-8453.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Friends at Orange Theory Fitness, first class, always free. It'll let you know what it's all about. You'll see if you get in there and have the workout that this is something you can get down with. It's good stuff. Go take advantage of that offer. First month is also free if you purchase that heart rate monitor, which you're going to want to do. Orange Theory Fitness, there are 2 locations in town, Midtown and Northside. I'm set to see Andy, the owner of Orange Theory Fitness, later this week. Looking forward to it. It's been a minute.
On the golf course, or
hopefully maybe both. Maybe
Nice.
a cold beer and a little bit of golf, and the discussion of a multi-year extension.
there you go. The Greens are rolling over at Capital City. So
They are
do it.
indeed. Rangers, Marlins, bottom of the 6th, 2-0. Marlins, cue it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probably?
I saved it. Rangers are throwing Glenn Otto. Hey, Glenn Otto. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Glenn Otto. Trevor Rogers goes for the Marlins. We got the Angels and the Guardians. Reed Detmers. Good Lord. Connor Pilkington. 2 insufferable guys at the club. Astros, Tigers. Framber Valdez. Eduardo Rodriguez. Pirates, Reds. Bryce Wilson, Mike Minor. Rays, Jays. Cooper Criswell.
Oh, no.
Again with this?
Stick him in a group with those other 2.
Yeah. With Connor Pilkington and Reed Detmers.
Yeah.
Jose Barrios goes for the Blue Jays. Rangers, Marlins, John Gray, Braxton Garrett. He's going to join the force. Your foursome, baby. There's your foursome.
Send them off first.
Yep. Oh, send Braxton with him. I don't want to deal with Braxton. Cubs, Mets, Javier Assad, Chris Bassett. Dodgers, D-backs, Tyler Anderson. 14-3 with a 2.73, Tyler Anderson. Might win the Cy Young. Who knows? Jesus. Ryan Nelson goes for the D-backs. Braves, Giants, Spencer Strider, Alex Cobb, and that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. You know, the only other person you'd have to add to that foursome, if you could fit a 5th, which you don't want to do.
They would, though. Those 4 think that they own the world.
You know who they'd ask? Lance Leopold, if he wants to join.
Oh, no. So, what pitcher, active or retired?
Yeah.
You only get, it's not a group of 4. You get to play golf with. Active or retired, if you could pick one pitcher, who would it be?
Greg Maddux.
Ew. All right.
Yeah, I want to play with Greg Maddux.
Oh, thank you.
No, he's
insufferable.
He's funny. He's funny. If you listen to him get interviewed, he's funny.
I'd go with Pedro.
Well, I'd love to play with Pedro. Now, if you're talking about the difference between we're going out there to have a really good time, or I want to see somebody who I have suspected scratch, can play really well.
Play with Smoltz.
Yeah, can play with Smoltz. He'll just embarrass us, though. He's like a real player. Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Alarm Maintenance Tuesday.